This is Classical Conversations, Cycle 2 and Week 11. Today we're going to talk about memory work for this week and then what we did for review. And we're going to start with math. So today we learned the cubes, skip counting the cubes. And since this is our last week of skip counting, we ended with some fun. And everyone got a chance to pick a number. And then on their pick, they would pick what we did as a class when we got to that number in skip counting. So they would pick either to clap or to jump or to shout or whisper or tap a knee. Lots of fun ideas, whatever they could think of, that's what we did. And by the end of the class, we had 8 different numbers circled, and we were doing 8 different things on those numbers. It was pretty fun and a little bit of challenge to remember what we were on. So the song sounds like this. 1, 8, 27, 64, 125, 216, 343, 512, 729, 1000, 1331, 1728, 2197, 2744, 3375. And that is our cubes. For English, we moved on from all of our pronoun song and the chicken dance, and now we're moving on to the indefinite pronouns. And so for that, we're doing a chant, and it sounds like this. Indefinite pronouns. Indefinite pronouns. All, another, any, anybody, anyone, anything, both, each, either. And I got that from Amy Turner on YouTube. Thank you for that. And we're going to continue with that same sound for the next 3 weeks for indefinite pronouns. So one more time, it's indefinite pronouns. Indefinite pronouns. All, another, any, anybody, anyone, anything, both, each, either. Indefinite pronouns. Okay, for history, it's tell me about the French Revolution. And so for that, we have some motions, and they go like this. In 1789, the French Revolution began when citizens stormed. So you can march, we're marching. Citizens stormed the Bastille and fought for the Declaration of the Rights of Man. Later, during the Reign of Terror, the aristocrats' heads were beheaded by the guillotine. So it's in 1789, the French Revolution began when the citizens stormed the Bastille and fought for the Declaration of the Rights of Man. Later, during the Reign of Terror, the aristocrats, just a sign for the top of society, this was the highest level of people groups in society, so the aristocrats' heads were beheaded by the guillotine. And that is the French Revolution. For Latin, we had a little bit of fun. It is our first conjugation's future perfect tense. And so it starts with arrow. So made a little crown here with arrows, and we went around the class and we sang happy birthday. And while we sang our future tenses in the tune of happy birthday. And whoever was wearing the crown, we would sing to because they were the birthday person. So it's arrow, eris, erit, ermis, eritus, errant, first conjugation, future perfect tense. And we would pass along the birthday crown and sang that several times as a class. And the arrows help us remember that the tune, or the first word starts with arrow, and the tune is happy birthday. For the timeline, we have Norman conquests. Adjust this here. Norman conquests and feudalism in Europe. Then we have the Crusades, Zimbabwe, and early Mali in Africa. Zimbabwe literally means a wall. So Zimbabwe and early Mali in Africa. We do this for Molly. This is our 3 fingers over our thumb. And they dominated the gold trade. So that's why we do the sign for gold. So Zimbabwe and early Mali in Africa. Okay, then we have the Aztecs of Mesoamerica, make a pyramid. They were known for building those. And we have Francis of Assisi and Thomas Aquinas. So FT. And then we have Japan Shogun. You take your sword, that's the word I'm looking for. You take your sword and you take it out. So Japan Shogun. And then we have the last one, Incas of South America. We do this because they were over on the Andes Mountains. So make the mountain and then we're climbing that mountain. So Incas of South America. That's our timeline. For geography, we have Europe and Asia. And we did a little song, well, did a little chant. So Moscow's in Russia, Moscow's in Russia, Kiev's in Ukraine, Kiev's in Ukraine, Siberia, Siberia, Europe and Asia. Moscow's in Russia, Moscow's in Russia, Kiev is in Ukraine, Kiev is in Ukraine, Siberia, Siberia, Europe and Asia. We talked a little bit about geography today, just that Siberia basically starts on the other side of the Ural Mountains, and everything on this side of the Ural Mountains is Siberia. Lots of Asia is part of that, and we highlighted where Russia is and Kiev so we could all see. But all of these places are parts of the continents Europe and Asia, so that's where that comes from. And that is our geography. And last, we have science. And for science, we're learning the phases of the moon. This idea also, thank you, Amy Turner. But on black paper, we had stars drawn for our solar system, our universe. And the phases of the moon are new, crescent, quarter, gibbous, and full. And then singing it to the tune of Bram's Lullaby. So, the phases of the moon are new, crescent, quarter, gibbous, and full. The phases of the moon, the phases of the moon are new, crescent, quarter, gibbous, and full. The phases of the moon. So what are the phases of the moon? New, crescent, quarter, gibbous, and full. And that is all of our memory work for week 11. For review today, we played mini Jenga. You can get it at the dollar store. I just write all the different subjects on the back of the pieces. And then I sprinkle in there jumping jacks. Do 5 jumping jacks, one of them will say, or a dance party, or make a silly face. And all the 7 subjects are in there more than anything else. They kind of repeat. There's several of each subject in there. And every time they pick one, we do that. That usually gets us through a lot of review. Today for a review, we also sang the chicken dance song a couple times through as a class to the music. And that got us through all the English for the last several weeks. And sang the phases of the moon. And what are some other songs that I think that's pretty much it. But Jenga usually gets you through a lot, so that's awesome. And that is all of our memory work and review for Cycle 2, Week 11. Hope you guys have an awesome week.